Good morning, warriors. Welcome to YSHOI for this week. Today I'm going to have a super quick one because I've got a whole bunch of stuff to do. But basically, I wanted to talk to you about a small change in the Scrum methodology that happened, well, recently, put it that way. I can't remember exactly when. And what we've done is we've renamed the Daily Stand-Up to the Daily Scrum. After this, we'll talk about why. Alright, so most of us were talking about a daily Scrum, ever since we started learning Scrum. But the official term was the daily stand-up. And in fact, a lot of the non-Scrum practitioners out there will use the word stand-up purely because, they're not using Scrum as a methodology. And what I noticed was there was this change, an official change to Scrum, where we changed from daily stand-up to daily Scrum. And I started thinking about why, and I started talking to people about why, and through our research over the last 12 months, we've realized that there's a whole bunch of Scrum practitioners out there that we can leverage, really amazing people doing some amazing stuff. But one of the things we put the question out there, right? And we sort of went, well, why this change? What's that mean? What's it to us? And of course, there were some interesting ones like, well, guys, not everyone can stand up, so there's like a, it's really, I don't even know if you could call it a PC type thing, but it's really, hey, some people just do not have the ability to stand up, and calling it a stand-up is kind of really, not cool for those sort of people, and that's totally legit and a really good reason in itself to change the name. I got other responses, things like, hey, well, you don't stand up if you're doing a online Scrum, which is really true. I do online Scrums. I'm very rarely standing up. Most of the time it's on a PC. Sometimes it's on my phone, which means I am standing up. But you're not standing up necessarily because you're doing it through a video conferencing software or something like that. And so why call it a stand-up if you're not standing up? Then there's other things that I think people were a little bit more, well, interestingly, I found some components that were a little bit, okay, are you sure that's what you think that was the driver? One of them was this idea that the daily Scrum gave people the idea that we had to sort of stand in a circle and hold each other's shoulders and almost get like a rugby Scrum. Now, I have never seen that in a ever in a stand-up or a Scrum or any agile team. I've never really seen that, so I'm not sure where that came from. But okay, there's clearly at least one team out there that do the huddle when they're doing a Scrum, and I guess I understand where it comes from in terms of the actual rugby Scrum situation. But still, that was a bit shocking. And then of course there's other people that will just say, well, why call it anything? Like a label is a label. Sure, who cares? And I totally understand that as well. We tend to take the same labels sometimes. I kind of have it down to, if management consultants speak, you take the same concept from last decade and we put another label to it and sell it to the same client again, which I'm sure happens all the time because I've done that. I've seen that happen all the time. Anyway, so Daily Scrum is now, Daily Stand-Up is now Daily Scrum. Try to call it a Scrum. If you're not in the Scrum world, don't call it a stand-up. There's reasons for that, some of which I've outlined already. But call it something else, right? Come up with a cool name that you can call it that gives everyone like this a label, some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for here? A psychological artifact, right? So you might call it a lollipop. And then all of a sudden, the organization knows the lollipop as the time where the team meets to answer the 3 questions. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And what's going to block you, right? Whatever it is, come up with some sort of nomenclature for your organization that will mean that everyone's on the same page when you're talking about that particular process or practice. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you have any questions around Daily Scrum or Daily Stand-Up or any other names that you might have for this interesting little thing, or if you are one of those teams that actually huddle, get in touch, because I would love to have some pictures. And in fact, you know what, wherever you are, I'll fly over, we'll do a scrum together. That would be awesome. Cheers guys, have a good week, catch you next week.